Nvda hit a 52-week high today, so I thought I would take a look at the chart and give you some price targets. This is where we ended at VWAP. To the north side takes us back to resistance and a potential take profit area at 1224.73. Above that, at another level of resistance and potential take profit area as well, 1253.72. And above that, 1268.80 and roughly 1283.19. To the south side at support takes us to roughly 1195.41, 1180.41. A gap forms to the south side at 1174.61 and closes out at -4 standard deviations, which is also one level of support, 1165.51. Many levels of support and resistance within this zone. Now looking left, you can see that we sold off at resistance. This is a potential take profit area, as well as this area and this area. And there you go. A flush to the south side, back down at support, fell through, went back up, made its way back down to support, and the buy-in there. And then the clear bounce at support there. And this gap is still in play, still a threat to our account to the south side. I will mark that off. You cannot expect price to continue to run up without consolidating, but this stock has run so much and it's been a while since I've looked at it, but the 1-year price target is 1225.92. So at this level of resistance, we're only talking from where we are a 1.28% return. I don't like to buy higher, to buy high, to sell higher. So if I'm getting in, I am definitely waiting for the gap fills. It may never fill, and I could be waiting and waiting and waiting, but I don't care because I have plenty of other things to trade. Now, taking a look at this on the daily, those white lines are my previous gap and go trades that I talked about. And the gaps closed to the upside, so I stopped tracking it week to week. But I've tracked this one for quite some time. Can you imagine getting it down at 423 and even lower? Because I've talked about it way lower, in the 100s, I believe. Yeah. So let me take a look at this on the daily and give you some price targets. And then I'll clip along because I don't want to spend too much time on this one. So we are at 1209.98. This is in the post right now, but this is where we are. So on the daily, we've passed the 2 and 3 standard deviations, potentially on our way to 4, which takes us to 1288.93. And I do anticipate a little bit of a sell-off as people take their profits and they run, they lock in and they leave, but there's still some room to the upside there. And the RSI on the daily also overextended, so watch out. Now for the next 3 tickers I'm going to go over. Dltr. That's Dltr. It's been a while since I've looked at this one. So Dltr, PAYC, and VEEV all comes from trader Murat, who says that on those tickers, there is a gap to the upside. So he sees an upper gap, and I marked that out and it's disappeared because I've looked at this on different time frames. And as I've said, it makes my chart look wonky. So here we are. Let me move this back on the 5. Oh my goodness. Oh, there it is. Option R to reset. Okay, I'll move this out of the way for now. So he, again, pointed out to me some gaps to the upside, which I have not been tracking. So thank you so much for the tips there. And he says that these could make potential a nice entry point. So make sure you check it out for yourself and let us know if you will be trading this. All right, let me get this lined up here. Now, for your targets, we are at 112.37. Oh, let me fix that. VWAP takes us to 113.17. To the north side of that, obviously this is another level of resistance, but I'm not tracking that. I just turned on VWAP so that you could see it. But I play the linear, -2, and 2 standard deviations all day long. And then if I like to get greedy, I do my sell points at 3 or 4. Now, 2 standard deviations and 1 level of resistance, potential take profit area, 115.57, 117.29, 118.91. To the south side, 108.90, 107.26. A gap forms to the south side at 105.69, closes out at 105.06. Note the bounce at support here, and this gap down here at 111.63 also closed out, acting as support. And then you can see, oh my gosh, look at this. I can't even move it. Just scrolling, I have to actually physically move the page to get this thing to go back. But anyway, I'll show you the daily time frame later. And it's easier to see what happened. So we are right here. And when we're up here and going down, this turns into support. So we're grinding along this line. And another area that you can check for support and resistance, and I'm going to mark a line right here. So for me, I will anticipate price to potentially just follow the line down, all right? Or if we continue on our path and kind of continue our path down and then correct ourselves, this line could act as the middle of the trend. The RSI has room to move to the upside on the daily. We are looking right here. So your price target on the daily, if you're doing longer swings, 120.06. This gap closes out, I don't know, at roughly 130.08. This one forms at 133.35, closing out at 149.91. And this is resistance, and you know what's going to happen there. And to the south side, 105.06 here, but all the way down to here, if you think the economy and the market's going to tank, the potential there, 93.14-ish. So clear support on the daily, sell off at resistance on the daily, and then we are grinding down and we hit support and then we bounced, and then we're just kind of grinding sideways a little bit here with potential bounces, which are expected. Now, the next one I want to go over is PAYC. I'm on the daily, so I'm just going to show you the big picture here. It's been a long time since I looked at this one, and I think Murat has also talked about this one in the past. It's hard for me to see because of the way the chart ends up looking. Okay. Reset that on the daily since I'm here. Your range, 215.20 to the north side, and to the south side at the bottom takes us to roughly 92.26. I don't think it's going to get there that fast. This is going to slowly get there if we continue to go down, as you can see on the daily. But that's a long ways off. You've got a gazillion trades in between. And then we have this gap. Let me mark that out while I'm here. And now I will take this back to the 5-minute. Option R to reset. Again, on the 5 even, we're still going down, but it's not a massive flush. It's kind of slowly correcting itself, it looks like, because this was down. Actually, look at this. We hit a 52-week low, and that's the kind of stuff I like to look at. And I did notice that, yeah, it did make the 52-week low when I saw it on Fidelity's chart. So I have to move this over here. Getting wonky on me. Drives me batty. Wastes a lot of time resetting everything. Look, because I looked at it a different time frame, now I gotta move this. I have to move this, not I gotta. Move that to 125. All right, your price targets. We are at the middle of the trend, which also coincides with VWAP. But if I'm playing VWAP, I like to buy down here for a better entry point, and then hope, pray, and keep my fingers crossed that we bounce. All right, to the north side, 147.20, 148.16, and 149.15. Keep in mind, these numbers constantly change. 143.19, 142.25, 141.25. Note the bounce at support, sell off at resistance, buy, sell, buy. That's the 5-minute. Now, the next one also from Murat, and the gap that he's talking about, the nearest one takes us to 158.23. Many trades to get to this level. And what is the 1-year price target? 186.79, a 28% return from where we are. So that takes us even past this gap, so that would be incredible. But that's the long-term goal. Otherwise, get in, get up, get out. Get in, get up, get out. Take your gains, however small they are, within this zone. All right. The next one, VEEV. We ended the day at 185. Let me fix this because I was just plugging in numbers previously, and then the bell rang, and then I need to change it because that way it just reminded me to do it by plugging it in earlier. Oops. There we go. We are basically at the middle of the trend. To the north side, a gap begins at 185.96. That's going to act as resistance as well. 188.57, 190.25, 192.16, closing out at 193.54. And this potential gap will take us, if it doesn't, you cannot put your price target right to the left, I should say. You have to carry this forward and then one notch over for the price to line up. I know it's goofy, but there you go. Note the sell-off at resistance. Didn't quite make it down here, but started to bounce. Here as well, this is resistance, sold off. Resistance, resistance. I sound like a broken record, but that's how you read that. At least that's how I read it. And on the 5, we are overextended. So watch out for this to roll over and then bounce back up again. And like I said, 220 for this one as the price target. 220. And that represents a 19% return from where we are. And, oh, I guess I have tracked this one in the past. All right. It's been so long. What do I have here? Oh, and Marat pointed this stock out a while ago. Obviously, things tanked in 2021. We corrected ourselves. But if you bought here, obviously went down, but from here to here, if it was on your radar, would have taken us up. Oh gosh, there we go. A 52% return there. So what is this? So this gap I'm seeing to 171.87. Did I mark that out already? Okay, on the monthly though, we are still going up, but he said to look at this on the daily. So we've got plenty of room to the upside. And look at this, we're at support on the daily. Oh, and this is the gap here. So we could, though, potentially go down to here. So make sure you keep your eyes on that, especially if you like to go short. But for your daily time frame, your channel takes us to 212.02, and to the south side, I'll just take it to here at -3, which takes us to 168.24. And when I say -3, I mean SD, or standard deviations. It takes too long to say that. All right. And oh, really quickly while I'm here, and this video is already long, I'm just going to drag it out some more. I did take a trade on AMC. I forgot that I had set a sell limit, and I never went back last night on Wednesday to fix it, because that's what you should do. I put sell limits 60 days out, and sometimes I remember and sometimes I forget, and most often I forget to move it along and look at it. So that is my bad, but I'll tell you what I did in just a moment. But first, let me just delete this so you can see better. With AMC, it started to run today. It popped. I don't know if it popped along with GME, which I'm going to go over in a second too, because I just did that one. But right here, we are at 579. Well, 579 in after hours. Well, excuse me. No, at the end of the day. I'm getting everything mixed up here. 579. Right now we're in the post at 580. All right, to the north side, your price targets. 593 and 611. VWAP takes us to 554. Another level of support takes us to 540, 504, 486, and 468. When I had this set on Wednesday, I set it at between 2 and 3 standard deviations, and then it ripped up between 3 and 4. We started to sell off. So the calculations constantly change, and I didn't keep up with it. So I bought in here a long time ago, and I have not been tracking this thing, and I thought I'm going to get out because we're at resistance. So I put in this sell order, and it got there. So I was hoping to sell off and then buy down here again and watch for it. But I don't watch this one like a hawk, and that came back to bite me. So let me turn off my magnet. So right here to right here. Let me make sure my price bar is correct, and I sold out at how much? 565. All right, I made a return of 3.9%. I could have made more, and that would have taken to 9%. The 1-year price target is now for what? Oh, we already made it. Okay, that scared me for a second. $8. That's right, $8. So these are previous support and resistance, but $8 would take us up to, I'll mark that out later, right there. All right, and I've tracked this many times in the past. And on the daily, your zone will be 890, and TradingView said 8. Where the heck are all my numbers? It's so hard to see, so forget it. I'm not going to even bother. On the 5-minute is easier to look at because I've charted this out so many times. My chart looks like a mess. Okay, the last one, and I am done, will be GME. We ran like hotcakes today. Yesterday, I talked about it because earnings is coming up. When I talked about it, we were at 31.57. Did I already mark this out? Let me just go to the 15. No, back to the 5. As you can see, we have a lot of gaps to the south side to cover. In just a moment. Un momento. 46.55. I'm just using the arrow key up and down on my keypad here. So the next target will be 49.78 to the south side. If we go down, this turns into resistance, and that's where you could see another bounce again. 43.18. This turns into resistance falling down. All right, VWAP takes us to 39.51. Here's another level of support at 29.78. What happened here? Let me extend that because I talked about it yesterday. So that's 23.20, excuse me. But then there was this other gap within that gap. So that one is 24.78. Let me just say that this closes out at 17.31. So we've got tons of levels in between that will also act as support. But on the linear, 29.69, 26.43, and 23.20 at -4 standard deviations. The probability when you have price come down to here and a gap closure to the south side, and then if you see this go down, the probability it to bounce is greater. So if all those things line up, that means I'm definitely taking the trade. And what else? That's it for game, I guess. Oh, we ended the day at 46.55, up a whopping 47%. Now, from where we were when I just quickly made a chart, oops, delete. So at the end of yesterday here, that's still, I'm up. Well, my numbers are up just a little bit more. It looks like 35.57. And we ended the day at, the high of the day, excuse me, 47.50. 47.50. And that is, a 50% return. Not too shabby. All right, that's enough talking. That was a look at Nvda, Dltr, PAYC, VEEV. Again, thank you to Murat for pointing those tickers out. AMC and GME. I don't think I have time tomorrow because I'll be busy on Friday to do a video, but watch out for my gap and go trades and that recap sometime this weekend. Have a great trading day.